Welcome to Direct Approach, a bi-weekly podcast hosted by Wayne Moorhead, delivering timely insights, fresh perspectives, and actionable takeaways from your direct selling executive peers to fuel your business's growth and evolution. What does it take to merge the fast-paced world of direct-to-consumer e-commerce with the relationship-driven model of direct selling? In this episode, Wayne sits down with Amanda Moore, co-founder and chief growth officer of Red Aspen, to uncover the story behind their bold transition to Shopify. Get ready for a candid conversation about navigating high-stakes implementations, empowering the field with digital tools, and building a future-proof direct selling company. But before we begin, we'd like to thank this episode's sponsor, OrderGroove. OrderGroove powers smarter subscriptions for serious direct selling brands. As the leading subscription platform for the world's fastest-growing direct selling companies, OrderGroove turns basic auto ship into a high-performing growth engine, driving recurring revenue, improving distributor retention, and maximizing customer lifetime value. OrderGroove's flexible API seamlessly integrates with any e-commerce, commission, marketing, or homegrown system. Ready to future-proof your revenue model? Discover how OrderGroove can help you boost retention, drive revenue, and empower your distributors. Visit ordergroove.com to learn more. Now let's welcome your host, Wayne Moorhead, and his guest, Amanda Moore.
Hello and welcome to another episode of DSN's Direct Approach podcast. I'm your host, Wayne Moorhead, and today's guest background includes a blend of corporate experience, entrepreneurial grit, and a passion for helping women build confidence and income on their own terms. Her current role is centered on growth, whereby she is building systems, scaling operations, and empowering their brand ambassadors with the tools they need to succeed. I'm excited to welcome Amanda Moore, co-founder, chief growth officer at Red Aspen. Amanda, thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, Wayne, thanks to you for having me. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Yeah, I've really been looking forward to this. As I mentioned, I've been a big fan of the company for a long time and have been following the success and have just been so impressed with what you and your other co-founders have built. And you are currently undergoing, or I guess recently underwent, an implementation that everybody should be considering at this moment in direct selling. But before we get too deep into it, can you take a moment and just share a little bit about the path that led you from the corporate world into the exciting world of direct selling?
Oh my gosh, yes. And again, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited about our topic that we get to cover today too. But yeah, we'll get there. I'm only knew about direct sales after kind of stumbling upon it during my corporate career. So out of college, I just joined a massive IT recruiting company, just one person in a giant, huge corporation, and knew that corporate life wasn't for me. So I found a different technical recruiting position, but at a direct sales company that also was here in Boise. And again, took the job not knowing, what the validity of this company even was, not having like the best positive experience about direct sales in my life, maybe a couple at-home parties that I had been to. And at the other company, I quickly moved from, the technical recruiting to the field and working with the field. And it didn't take very long for me to talk to some of the people in the field, hear their stories, that I'm like, I'm hooked. Like, this is where I want to be. This is what fuels my soul and how I want to help people. And so fast forward to starting this with my partners, Jessica McKinney and Jeannie Reese, we knew exactly what we were going to do. We were going to start a company that was direct sales based because, man, helping women become the best versions of themselves, helping them become independent business owners and earn income. Like, what better opportunity is that, really?
I love that story. It's always so fascinating to hear how people find their way into direct selling, but there's always these common threads that it's either an event or interacting with brand partners where we all really get hooked and understand what this channel is all about. And I know similarly for me, I went into a direct selling company, a large public direct selling company, was it a corporate centralized role. And after about a year, moved into the US market. So even though we were in the same building, different floor, different team, but that focus and the support for the brand partners is where direct selling really came alive for me. And I was able to get that brand partner perspective that I did not get in that centralized role. So yeah, it's amazing how many of us get hooked by seeing the lives change.
I mean, who can't? I mean, who doesn't, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, Red Aspen has relatively recently, maybe a year and a half ago or so, gone through an experience and an implementation that each one of our companies is either doing or needs to be doing urgently right now. And so I'm excited to learn and hear more about your experience. I've gone through something similar to other companies, also similarly right now. And it's a huge undertaking, but the benefits are incredible to the brand partners, to the customers that we get to interact with. And this is really around one of the main soapboxes I've had for the last several years, even at DSU in 2019, spoke on the importance of kind of blending these worlds of direct selling and direct to consumer. And one of the big things that was holding direct selling back was our technology. These systems that we had been on for so long, many of them were homegrown, did not lend themselves well to today's digital first world, mobile first world, and didn't allow us to really implement a lot of the tools that are available to marketers and especially digital marketers today. And I think the other thing that kind of held us back a little bit too was talent, where not that people didn't have the desire to do it, but a lot of that skill set, that muscle memory that is really ingrained in a lot of the D2C brands wasn't in some of the legacy, or longer life cycle direct selling companies. And all that has really changed a lot in the last couple of years. So I want to dig in and hear more about your experience. I do remember a couple DSUs ago sitting in the CEO forum, and I heard you say that you were implementing Shopify. And as we've chatted, I pretty much almost jumped out of my seat with excitement because Red Aspen was the first direct selling company that I had heard of that was implementing Shopify, which I was very familiar with from my D2C life. But can you talk a little bit about what was the catalyst for this? What were you seeing? What was that need to shift to a more flexible, modular e-commerce platform?
Wayne, I want to jump on that soapbox with you. Okay. First, I want to get on that soapbox. And that is literally why we did this. The catalyst was the consumer, right? And that we have to build an experience that the consumer is used to seeing, that is mobile friendly, that is optimized, that's personalized to her, right? A seamless shopping experience. And it's insane to me how behind so many direct sales companies are when it comes to technology. We're a young company, right? We launched in October of 2017. We'll be 8 years old. And, when we started this journey, we were 5.5 years old. And it's we were still young. So in theory, we were more agile, right? To make this technology shift. But, when it comes to out of box, starting a new direct sales company from the beginning, you're very limited in what that can look like. Right. And you're not modernized in the world of what people are used to seeing when they're shopping. Right. And so we needed to create something that for a consumer, it was something that she's used to seeing. We're meeting her exactly where she is. When someone wants to join, we're making that experience easy, seamless, and connecting them with our brand ambassadors. So for us, it was always a no-brainer that we needed to make that move. It was just more about the timing and money and all that stuff from a young company to finally somebody able to afford making this change.
Yeah, it's amazing how long we've expected consumers, potential customers, potential brand partners to jump through hoops and to feel that in some way in direct selling we're different, that we get a pass, that maybe we don't have to live up to the same exact standards and experiences that the rest of us experience on every website that we shop in every day.
And I think there's a little to build on that. I think you think, the rep, the brand partner, the brand ambassador, the consultant, whatever you call them, is going to help the consumer along the journey, right? And maybe before there were so many more in-home situations. And so the need for a beautiful e-commerce experience wasn't there. Sure. And maybe that's it. But if we want to make a better name for ourselves as direct sales and grow as a complete industry, then we all have to get on board of like modernizing and meeting the customer where they're at. That's just point blank it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Do you feel like over the last few years, especially, have we lost a lot of potential customers and brand partners because of the state of our digital experiences, our websites?
I can only speak obviously to us and our experience. I think that, COVID changed a lot. And so I think the need, once we really shifted everybody from any type of like personal shopping that you wanted to do in person, completely left during COVID, that is what for us was like, okay, we're done now. We never liked our e-commerce website, but we were okay with it, right? We were willing to make it work. But once the shift happened for COVID and it was like you are only shopping online, I remember going to other direct sale companies, just I think to even like buyer support, right, from somebody else. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're just as bad as we are. Like, I didn't know if I felt validated in that or I felt worse about that, knowing that, that it was, you're asking the customer, are you sure you want to buy? Are you sure? We're going to make you jump through one more hoop. Okay, but really, are you sure? So, but to answer your question, for us, it was a non-negotiable, right? Like, yeah, I don't know how much it hindered our sales because as soon as we saw it, the world changing, we immediately just made the shift. We didn't wait for sales to go down and hurt us before we knew we needed to make that shift.
That's great that you were really at the forefront from a direct selling perspective. Were you hearing that from the field as well? Were they expressing frustration or sharing insights from some of the people they were trying to recruit and their impressions of what was going on?
You know what I think that if you just sometimes when you ask them, they don't always know, but once you lead them, they're like, oh, yeah, like that's it. Example, we sell a lot of press on nails. Okay. There's 200 different styles and colors. And to navigate through our product offering before, you needed to know that this blue nail was named Blue River. Not that you wanted a blue nail, like a filtering system, right? So I don't think they realized until we were like, hey, these are the features we're going to change, that they were like, oh my gosh, this is game changing. Or, hey, we're going to create these links. So now on social media, you can share in a different way. We can track the data. And they're like, oh yeah, we need that. So I think we kind of helped bring them through that and for them to realize, oh yeah, our existing website's the worst.
Can you talk a little bit about the process that you went through in selecting the go forward e-commerce platform? In your mind, was it always Shopify?
From an aesthetics, e-commerce, personal experience for myself, for Jesse, for Jeannie, we knew Shopify was like where the up and coming companies were going. Shopify was growing. They have the best look and feel. They have the best, oh my gosh, you bought and you didn't even realize you bought experience. And what I have since learned after launching with them is how amazing all of the data connection pieces and the whole ecosystem of what is Shopify and how every third party company can connect with them. That is where they're better than anybody else. And we didn't realize that until post launch.
Oh, that's great. And I think many of us probably don't even realize most of the websites we shop on are probably Shopify, and we're used to certain checkout flows and enrollment flows and things like that. And so it does feel very intuitive when we just move over to Shopify eventually for our companies. And it is really purpose built for those direct to consumer brands. It's amazing out of the box, easy to plug in. All of the Martech tools that you mentioned there. But direct selling definitely, as we know, is a little bit of a different beast and has unique requirements specific to our customer segments, different journeys that they have to go through. Can you talk a little bit about the requirements development element in the process? And was there anything that stood out right away to you that you knew was going to take additional customization because you were a direct selling company?
In the beginning, no, but that's why I'm so happy to be here, Wayne, because we've now done this and it's been a year and a half, and I'm excited to be able to share now what we wish we would have known a year and a half ago, right? Because, It wasn't until maybe a couple months post-launch that I was really like, okay, we're asking Shopify to do a lot of things that's not native to Shopify. When you talk about replicated websites, potential party links if you're a party plan, attribution, making sure, are you allowing a customer to purchase from corporate? Do they need to purchase from a BA? Who gets that? Connecting all that with your commission engine, right? Like there's so many things that it's not just buying. There's so much more complexity that comes with it that when we were presented this option to be able to work with Shopify, we were like, oh, okay, great. We just assumed these things, Shopify fixed something. They allow all these things to happen, but they don't. We had an intermediary to help send the correct information and data along to our commission engine. And so I think that's just great for people to know, right? That like you are asking it to do something not native, but there are ways. And I think the more companies that get on Shopify, the more pull we have with them as an organization to help with some of those things as well and get just the support from them, from corporate Shopify.
Yeah, I think they're definitely, and I mean, not just Shopify, but other e-commerce platforms are realizing the great need that's in direct selling and kind of what an untapped customer segment it is for them. And so I think we're going to start seeing them a lot more at our events, reaching out to all of our companies for the solutions that they provide. We're going to see them a lot more. We touched briefly on talent and kind of that skill set where it is so specialized, understanding conversion rate optimization and acquisition and sales funnels. Did you find that you needed to bring in new talent, or, just kind of this generation of marketer that's coming in, is it just inherent to these individuals today?
Well, no, when we launched, we had no digital marketing team. And what's ironic is we actually spent more time and money building and creating a digital marketing team than we did in an IT team, which is crazy. We had to hire a digital marketing director. We had to have a specialized email person, texting, SEO, Google paid ads, consultants, a data analyst, right? All those people can do amazing things with their emails and their texts, but if they don't have the right data to know who we're sending it to, why we're sending it to them, the success of sending it to them, then, what are we doing here? And what was so great is we never had that department before because we didn't have the information. We could send, even we would send some emails. We would do things here and there, but we never could track the conversion. We never could track, how much it actually, what was the click-through rate for all the way to purchase, right? Was it a returning customer? Was it a new customer? Was it a brand ambassador? Was it a new brand ambassador, right? Like the segmentation that we have now, we couldn't do it. So why were we going to create a digital marketing department when we didn't know what our spend was doing? And so because again, Shopify's ecosystem and the ability for you to partner and have so many third-party vendors easily connect into all that granular data, that was really important for us. We timed our launch and we launched in February on Valentine's Day of 2024 is when we launched Shopify, and our digital marketing team was all hired and in place by that day as well. So from the day we turned on the website, we had the digital marketing team so they could immediately get the data and start running with all of the variety of campaigns that we had coming through.
Yeah, it's interesting. You can have the world's greatest website, but if you don't have the right people to really run it and optimize it, it's almost not worth having in a large sense. I'm curious, where did you look for that type of talent? Outside of direct selling, I mean, people with more D2C experience, where did you go for that?
Yeah, when it came to like the director level, we really wanted somebody with direct sales experience because it's just a different beast, right? Again, how we're going to do paid ads, how we're going to bring the reps on the journey when they see our ads out there that we're not trying to steal business from them, right? Like that special touch you have to have was our perfect world. I don't know how much you know about the Boise market, but it's not the biggest booming metropolis. We have a lot of tech here, but not large in the direct sales space. So we have brought people on who've been amazing. We just decided to take them with their skill set and the talent, and we can teach them and show them the direct sales way. And when it comes to like the actual email folks and SMS, they didn't need to have, they're more executing on work. So whether they had direct sales experience or not wasn't going to make or break it. But unless, a lot of people want to relocate to Boise, getting somebody with a lot of direct sales experience is not the easiest thing for us to find.
Sure. So did you end up hiring a lot of remote talent, maybe below the director level? No,
we only are in person here.
That's great.
I think we learned a lot during COVID, letting people be remote. But no, we are in person, a little bit of a flexible schedule, but it was required that you would have to relocate to Boise.
That's great. What was the education process like for those new digital marketers that you brought in, helping them understand that nuance where they're so used to running ads and getting, as many eyeballs in front of their assets as they can, but having to sit down a marketer and say, you got to be really careful because some of our sales force is going to think that we're competing against them. There's this perception around channel conflict. Did you just get some blank stares back? What was that like?
We kind of did in the beginning, but I think even from the interview phase, this is the things that we talk about immediately. We say, listen, we're going to love your experience. And I truly actually love folks who haven't been in the direct sales space because they bring in all the ideas. We always say no, a bad idea is a bad idea. So, you can bring it up. Now, whether work and execute on it is one thing, but they have this experience, which is great. But it started when we hired them with picking the right email service provider, texting, because those companies, they have to be able to handle attribution, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm sending an email on behalf of all of our brand ambassadors to all of our customers, I need to make sure that that email service provider can link appropriately to the brand ambassador in which they purchased from so they don't lose the attribution. So it literally started from picking them, the ESP or the texting service. And that is where the journey for our employees started too. We had to teach them, okay, here's the questions you have to ask to make sure we have the right provider. And then once we have the right provider, it took them making their plan, showing it to us, and us giving our feedback and tweaking, being like, okay, this is going to be great. We need to make this twist here because she's not really going to respond well when she sees this Google paid ad. But what we can do? If we bring her on the journey, if we talk to our brand ambassadors, and we are huge proponents of this, I believe, my favorite quote, people support what they help create. And if we can bring the brand ambassadors along this journey, they will support the things that we are creating. We have to educate them why a Google paid ad is important, why an Instagram ad is important, why us contacting, emailing, texting your customers is going to help in your business. And here's how I'm going to show you and prove to you that I'm not stealing from you. If you can bring them on that journey from the very beginning, we literally had a tech corner, is what we called it on our website, that our top leaders could go to, and we'd be like, here's the tech initiatives we're trying this week. So go and get acclimated if you want, right? And here's why we're doing it, and here's how it's going to benefit you. We took them on the journey from the very beginning, and never once were we met with any pushback from our field. And so when our awesome employees had these crazy, amazing ideas that maybe were unconventional, we said, great, if we're going to do that, what's the journey you're going to take the brand ambassador on? Then that was a more important part before the implementation. How are we communicating, and how are we taking her on that journey so she agrees with what we're doing?
That's so impressive that they were so receptive and supportive in rolling this out. And I know that speaks to how you communicated the end benefit to them. Because I think you're right. If we talk about it in the abstract, it's going to look like we're competing. But if we help communicate how we can help partner with them deeply to build volume in their organization, to increase AOV, increase LTV of their customers and their brand ambassadors, then they start realizing, okay, this isn't, the company moving away from the channel in any way, but they have my best interest in mind. So I think that really speaks to how you rolled that out.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's talk moment of truth and the go live, which is always one of the most exciting and scariest moments in an implementation or a process like this. So as you moved everything, I'm sure you went through significant testing. What happened when you went into production? Were there hiccups? Did everything go as smoothly as you wanted? Did you end up living at the office for 2 weeks trying to smooth out some of the edges of this process?
I mean, it's technology, Wayne, so it didn't just go smooth, right? We took the brand ambassadors on the journey. We told them that this is going to happen. So we picked a date. We picked Valentine's Day because we're like, you know what, go spend time with your loved ones. The site can be down for a little bit while we're doing this, and we were always informed during Go Live that it would take probably like 8 to 12 hours. Right? You had to think about a lot of data migration coming over, and we did a lot of that beforehand. But then literally turning on the site and making all the testing when it's finally in live, right? And so we said, you're telling me 8 to 10 hours, technical folks. Well, I'm telling you what I've learned in the last 7.5 years is that is going to be double. And if we're going to go double, we might as well give us a little bit more time because we'd rather commit to saying 48 hours and then turn it on way sooner than having to keep pushing it out. Again, support from the field, right? Like if you get them on board, you can tell them 48, but you can't be like, okay, we're doing 24, just kidding, now we're moving to 48. So we had the forethought of saying, okay, we're going to say we're down for 48 hours field. But we had fun things planned, keep them engaged, whatever, for the 48 hours. Well, I will tell you, it took 47 of those 48 hours because data migration, things were failing. The information wasn't coming over. Oh, all of our products needed to have a different setup because they weren't showing up on the website correctly from when you go to preview to a live environment. And even, once we finally turned it on, we were happy to commit to the timeline, and we were able to fulfill on what we said to the field because we already knew we were going to have an uphill battle. Change is hard. Technology change is the worst. Okay. So already communicating them, we always knew we were going to have that much of a challenge. So we needed to make sure that we could communicate with them and know from 48 hours, you were going to be live and we weren't going to fail on the very first objective we were giving them for the website. So we hit that, held our breath. The first sale came through. And I will say from a customer experience, it was flawless from the beginning. As soon as we turned it on, you're not expecting the customer to do much. She just needs to click a product. She needs to have a beautiful experience and she needs to purchase and she's on her way, right? That has been flawless from the very beginning. All the other things I told you that Shopify is not native for, attribution, party links, there were hiccups there, 100%. And that's, again, why I'm happy to be here because Shopify's not your like bullet to success. It's another avenue channel for you, right? But I think letting people know like, hey, here's where we really wish we would have ratcheted down, or here's some things you have to extra test. That's why I want to be here and talk with everybody, Wayne, because I want everybody to move to a better e-commerce. And I'm here to sit here and tell you all the awful things that we have to go through so that maybe somebody doesn't. But yeah, back to Go Live. 47 awful hours and then 2 weeks afterwards too. But we're here, still alive. And I would do it again, Wayne.
That's good to know.
I would do it again.
Yeah, flipping the switch is really nerve-wracking. And I think it's really wise that you managed expectations with the brand ambassadors the way you did. And even, all things considering, switching over, which is going to be such a huge benefit, even 48 hours is not that bad. To be able to get things working that smoothly, that quickly, there's usually a lot of, technical debt and issues that you bring over with you. I'm curious also, you said you made the decision to move pretty quickly. Did you have kind of a phase 1 or phase 2 from a requirement standpoint, or were you able to get most of those requirements out with that initial launch?
I think we're really lucky in that we made this change while our business is still young. We're only in the US. We only take US currency, right? We are only in English. So I think we didn't have a lot of complexities there, right? Compared to maybe a bigger company migrating over. So I think that we also said, okay, we're not making any new program changes because scope creep happens really easily. You're like, oh my gosh, with Shopify now, they have an amazing subscription model. Oh my gosh, they have this amazing whatever feature, even upsells at the checkout, right? We needed to have them, the brand ambassadors have the most success, we needed to keep everything as simple and the same as we possibly could. We wanted to make changes to the party requirements. We wanted to change what a host gets, right? But we're like, no, we have to. She's already has so much change. She already has so many things she's gonna have to navigate, and how to change a profile picture here, and how to put a bio in here, right? And how is she gonna log in? And so we're like, no scope creep. We're gonna keep this as simple as we possibly can, so that we focus on, let's get a sale, let's get the customer going, let's get a brand ambassador join, and that's gonna be our first focus.
Are you ready to revolutionize the way your direct selling company accesses industry insights? Introducing the DSN Library's Smart Search, an AI-powered tool that puts over 2,000 curated assets at your fingertips. From compensation trends to emerging markets, answers are just a click away. If you're already a DSN supporter, then you have access to Smart Search right now. If not, it's time to check out our updated program. Starting at just $1,000 per month, your entire company can get access to the channel's most comprehensive collection of education and insights available. Visit directsellingnews.com/supporter to see a demo of Smart Search in action and to learn how your company can become a supporter now. We also invite you to join us at the Future of Commerce Deep Dive event, where we tackle the critical question, what's the right choice for your company? With countless platforms, partners, and promises competing for your attention, clarity is harder to find than ever. This event is designed to help you cut through the noise and make informed decisions that drive growth and innovation in your business. Join us to explore cutting-edge e-commerce solutions, gain actionable insights, and connect with industry leaders shaping the future of commerce. We also invite you to join us for the Fall DSU happening October 6th to 8th in Plano, Texas. Visit dsnevents.com today for details.
One of the questions I was going to ask, and maybe it's moot at this point, understanding that you had to hire in a lot of the digital talent, but I was curious about the relationship with how marketing and IT worked. In a lot of our older systems, we're so reliant on IT for any update, any type of content update, any development of promotions or landing pages or anything like that. Did moving to Shopify change how marketing worked with IT or the dependency thereof?
Yeah, when it comes to the look and feel of the site and setting up promotions, changing the landing page, marketing does it all. There's no IT component at all. Like I said, I didn't have an IT team, right? That's how easy, that is where Shopify comes in better than anybody else. Their plug and play of creating a product, adding the imagery, changing a banner, making the whole site black for Black Friday, right? Like, it's a marketing person's dream. They're like, oh, wait, I can just drag and drop wherever I want, A/B test however I want, put Hotjar on the site to see where people are clicking and how I can change things. Like, there's no IT needed for that within Shopify, which is like the most amazing part. So yeah, I mean, again, there was no marketing and IT fighting. It was marketing and me, because I was basically IT. And now our developer who's been here for 6 months.
That's incredible. Yeah, the capabilities that we now have on these modern e-commerce platforms is unbelievable compared to what we've been used to. Mm-hmm. And the ability just to act and react in real time. Marketing now is real time.
Yep.
So being able to adjust messages and assets and ads and all of that in real time, and not have to submit a ticket and wait a couple of weeks for IT to be able to make a change. And that's not a knock on IT. It's just how our systems were created, unfortunately. But with Shopify now live, you've talked about some of the tools. Can you share a little bit about your Martech stack and some of those tools you were able to bring in that have really had an impact? You mentioned subscription. If you can just talk about some of those, email, any of those.
Yes. So we have partnered with, and I'll give you the names of them because, again, I think they work with direct sales. Yeah. So we, how we've connected everything is we have the website of Shopify. We then utilize Snowflake, and Snowflake is like a cloud-based platform that functions like a modern data warehouse, right? So everything from Shopify goes into Snowflake from a data perspective. Then we use Cordial, for our email service provider. And again, they're amazing because they understood the attribution model. We used Postscript for our texting. Obviously, we have some SEO consultants, contractors that do all of our paid ads, Google ads, because they're so good about making sure it's all optimized. There are so many apps within Shopify for whether you want to do like subscriptions or upsell flows, abandoned carts. We saw like an 8% increase in our revenue from doing really targeted abandoned cart and abandoned cart flow. And every abandoned cart had like a different message. And again, we can look at the open rates and then we see what people are clicking on so we can make adjustments after that. Same thing with our abandoned cart text messages. It redirects them exactly to their cart link that of all their items they have. The attribution stays with them. Again, why Postscript and Cordial were important. I can't send an abandoned cart email to a customer and not have them go back to the brand ambassador in which they were on. The ability we have for upsells at checkout had been huge. So upsells at checkout, email abandoned cart, and SMS abandoned cart last year alone increased our revenue by 8%.
That's
So
incredible.
Again, if we didn't have those functionalities before, right? And then again, you can make it so targeted, so personalized to you so that it's this beautiful brand that they're seeing the most consistent brand messaging from a consumer standpoint every time. Our average order value gone up by $10 in the last year. Our average items per order went up by a full item in the last 6 months because we have these upsells and we see how much money we can even make from an upsell perspective. If they add it to their cart the last second at checkout, you can run the data and be like, we made X amount of money today just because they added this on at checkout. They didn't already have it in their cart.
With the obviously paid ads on Meta, paid ads on Google, they're going to see all of it. Is there an understanding of how many touches that it takes to really move someone from, an initial impression and awareness down into conversion?
8 to 12.
8 to 12. Amazing.
Mm-hmm. And then what's hard is the brand ambassadors are also part of those touches, right? Yeah. And that's the part that they don't understand why with the journey we take them on is they're like, why is Red Aspen doing a paid ad on, Instagram? And then the journey we bring them on is, okay, we literally tell them this. It takes a consumer 8 to 10 times to buy something. What about join, Wayne?
Yeah.
How long do you think it actually takes somebody to join, right? That's such a harder conversion to make. And so we're like, okay, brand ambassador, we're helping you because if you're only doing yours, how long will it take 8 to 12 times for her to see you? Months, right? But if we can be sprinkled in along that journey, then she finally goes with you, you get the sale, you get the conversion, and we're on our way.
Yeah, which really illustrates the issue with last click attribution. When there are 8 to 12 touches in the funnel, in the journey there, just looking at what happened last, if that's all you're looking at, it's really going to skew future campaigns and future ad spend, I think. What was the process like it's one thing to help a brand partner when it's on site, hey, we're going to be serving up an abandoned cart email or some type of, upsell on site. I think distributors are, for the most part, okay with that. Getting into the paid and more of the upstream top of funnel is where I would imagine they're going to have most of the heartburn. How did you approach that with your brand ambassadors?
Yeah, we treat them like business women. We don't sugarcoat anything. We're honest and upfront with them always. And so we said, hey, we need to grow. We need brand awareness. And we have the ability to reach and get the brand awareness out there. So when somebody finally sees your video at an event, at a fair and show, wherever it is they see you, that's not the first time that they've heard of Red Aspen, right? We're 8.5 years old. We're proud, so proud of where we've come from, right? But we still want to take over the world, So it's and people don't know we're not a household name. So in order for us to be a household name, you need us to put the backing behind it to get the word out there so that when you say it finally to somebody, they're like, oh, I've heard of that. And honestly, Wayne, when you talk to them like business women, because they are, and you ding them on that journey, they're like, cool, let's go.
That's great.
There was no opposition. And I think it's all about how you allow sales on the site, right? We are really clear with how attribution works on the website. We've launched ever since day one, we do take sales direct to corporate, right? If there happens to be a person who's never shopped with a brand ambassador and they end up on our site, they don't have to pick somebody at checkout, but we have rules of how to help those sales, right? And we're transparent with that too. But once you've bought from a brand ambassador one time, you will never go to corporate ever again. And they know that. So they trust us because we've done this for 8 years with them.
Yeah, and having that trust, that open communication and transparency is vital for the success of that. Maybe this is a little bit of a softball question, but this was something that I think was hotly debated within the channel for a number of years. But who do you see as the primary audience for the website?
It's consumers with brand ambassadors in mind.
Yeah. So how's that split? Where do you bring in, or what percentage of content do you see as being appropriate to introduce the opportunity side of the business? Or at what point in the website do you introduce just enough information to let them know the full scope of what Red Aspen is all about?
We don't hide that we're direct sales. We just don't go out there and blast it and get annoying. So if you go to our website, you'll see join now. It's always easy to find. We don't try to hide it, right? Again, that's not in the best interest of our brand ambassadors. Consumer focused with brand ambassador in mind, right? What we're going to start doing, we actually just kicked off the initiative and we're going to start it in a couple of weeks, is that Wednesdays are going to be join days. The way we launch at Red Aspen is we launch products on a Tuesday, sometimes on a Friday. We launch products like every week. And so we already have a lot of engagement and people on the site. So on Wednesdays, it's going to be join focused. So the main marquee on Wednesdays is going to be about a join message. We're going to keep the content fresh and clean. We're going to watch people's click-through rate. We're going to email them. We're going to text them. And we're going to watch, as we do that, our unsubscribe rate as well, right? If we start doing this, do we see customers unsubscribing because they don't want to be spammed about the join message? We're going to start doing just more join events, and everything is going to be based on Wednesday. So it's really clear at their field. I think it's also important because sometimes I think it gets lost when they're supposed to talk about join. And again, we do 1 to 2 launches a week. And when you have 2 launches in a week, and our reps are selling for, maybe they're an affiliate for another, Amazon or something, right? Within our rules, we have to fight for their time on their feet. So if we're saying, okay, on Tuesdays and Fridays, you're going to talk about products and you're going to push people to the website, we're going to push people to the website to talk about product. On Wednesday, we're talking about join. You now on Wednesdays have a reason to talk about us. And when you direct them to the site, you're talking about join, the site will look like join, and it will all look like we're on the same page, right? And so we're excited to try that to see if we see, again, they're attracting the person who wants to join. So that makes sense when the site looks heavy on join.
That's so impressive to have that level of consistent messaging, that cadence of messages that the brand partners can know to plan on, when and where and how to direct people to the site on certain days for specific offerings. And I just have to say, your product launch schedule is amazing, and it sounds exhausting at the same time. But to be able to launch products every week, I feel for the product team for sure.
Yeah, they're right on the other side of this door right here. I think they feel that love from you.
Well, give them my best. I'll send a case of Red Bull or something to them.
There you go.
But it's very impressive.
Yes.
So I want to shift into lessons and learnings. So how long did this process take from making the decision to that 47-hour period of holding your breath as you were rolling this out? How long was the whole process?
About 20 months.
20 months. Okay.
It was told it should be between 9 and 11. When you are dealing with older IT systems, sometimes you have to rework APIs and webhooks and how the commission engine is going to talk with Shopify. I'll be honest, Shopify was ready, right? The Shopify side was ready, but yeah, it was a long, grueling 20 months from basically when we had the first implementation phone call till February 14th of 2024.
Wow, that's quite a process. And to your point earlier, it's better to plan on doubling the length of any IT project or technical project or implementation for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel were some of the biggest landmines or challenges that you experienced through the process?
Well, here's my soapbox on Shopify. You ready
Yes,
for
please.
this? So Shopify, what's great, and another reason why people like it is the multiple payment options. You right? If you didn't already have accelerated payment options, you have that with Shopify, right? Whether obviously you have PayPal, Venmo, Apple Pay, Google Pay, a normal credit card, but then you have Shop Pay. And Shop Pay is one of those things that gets people excited about working with Shopify because if you have a Shop Pay account, you literally, I've done it all the time. I did it like yesterday. I'm shopping on a website. My Shop Pay account's linked up. I click buy. Oh my gosh, in one purchase, I just bought things and I didn't even realize it, right? That's the amazing part. Shopify Shop Pay is powered by Stripe. That has nothing to do with actually Shopify, right? The merchant that Shopify uses is Stripe. Stripe hates direct sales companies. We were told from the beginning, this isn't going to work. Stripe's not going to, it won't get approved. Well, we did. We got approved to utilize Stripe, and it was great. For the first 6 months, we had Shop Pay, we had accelerated payments, everything was going through just fine. And almost exactly 6 months after launch, I get an email from Shopify compliance. Urgent, your site's not compliant. I opened the email and they said, looks like you're an MLM. We don't support that. You need to move off with our payments. Either change all of these things on your site, get rid of the join messaging, get rid of the business kits, right? Change everything off of our site, or you have 5 days and we'll turn you off.
Yeah, stop being a direct selling company or else.
Or in 5 days.
Yeah.
So I thought I was in the clear. 6 months post-launch, I'm finally sleeping again. I was finally like getting in a great cadence, and then that email happens. And rounds and rounds and rounds. We luckily got them to extend us to go to 2 weeks. And we ended up having to, there are other merchants that are in Shopify, but you can't use Shop Pay. And they're for more like they call high risk businesses. And so, I pleaded with them. I showed them the emails where I was approved, but they didn't care. They did not care. And so we had to tell the field, right? This is where I was happy we didn't have subscriptions, because if we had subscriptions, you had to change over tokenization, and then you're going on a whole other channel, right? We just literally had to change the merchant. So we did it within about 7 days. We got approved with another merchant. We actually got the rates were the same, which hallelujah, don't know how that happened. And we moved over. And so I will tell you, I have had some conversations with this pretty high up, the CIO at Shopify over the field. And he was like mortified. He has direct sales experience and he was mortified that it happened. He's like, would you be interested in coming back to Stripe? And I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, I know. And so I know I have been on many demo calls, Wayne, with other direct sales companies, advice, lessons learned about moving to Shopify. And I would love to continue to help anybody who wants that. The first thing I say to them is, don't you dare go with Stripe and fall for what they're saying, because they could say yes, and then you'll get an email and they'll kick you off, because I have it in writing that they don't like direct sales. It's in their contract. So,
wow. Yeah, that's really important to know. A hard lesson to learn, but amazing that you were able to pivot and find a solution so quickly, but scary moment for sure.
Yeah, that's my soapbox. I'm off of it now.
No, please. As many soapboxes as you want to jump on is great. We're just soaking it up here and learning. So if you had to do it over again outside of the payments, is there anything you would do differently? Anything that could have shortened the 20-month implementation timeline?
I would have hired my own developer sooner. I don't think that it would have helped, reworking APIs and webhooks for the commission engine to talk to Shopify. That work is still needing to be there. But I think that where I'm struggling now is we're having to relearn how the things were connected and set up. And if I would have had a developer along this journey with me the entire time, they would have been the ones doing it. So we can make pivots and changes. We're having to rework some things now because we didn't develop it ourselves. If you're a small company watching this and you're excited about Shopify and you're like me, it's nice to know that you don't need a development staff, right, to make this work. And if you're a giant company and you're making this transition, you're like, yeah, I got a team of people who can handle that, and you're excited and happy. But that's something, that I would have definitely done. It would have shortened up that time. I brought the field on them. I thought I communicated and brought them on the journey. I think there's always more testing that you can do. There's always more hands-on learning and testing that they could have done. Again, changes, hardback technology changes so much harder, and not offense to them, but they're not technical people, right? Like that's not their job. Their job is to go out there and, for us, sell these amazing beauty products and just love the beauty life. That's what I'm asking them to do. So then asking them to relearn from a technical standpoint was really hard.
Yeah, that's great advice. There's a lot of companies that are looking at doing this same type of transition, understanding that they need a new e-commerce platform, one that's more modular and flexible. What advice would you have for other direct selling companies that are considering this right now? How do they know it's the right time?
I think if you have your grandma go to your website and try to check out, what happens? What is her experience? Watch her click, right? Like I watch her go through a join experience. And if she is struggling and she can't do it on her own, then it is time. Because guess what? You can put that grandma on Shopify and she'll be able to do it. I did this comparison, not with my own, my grandmas have passed, but like I've done this, and if you're having that struggle, then it's time. If you are trying to do a big launch and a promotion and you're I talked to different companies that it takes them 8 hours to launch their Black Friday promotions, right? 'Cause they're changing all the pricing and all the product images. If you're in that, then you should consider moving over. Are you ready to start looking for a new email service provider or a new texting service? Are you trying to get into Google Ads? Then stop real quick and look at where you want to go e-commerce wise, because you want to think long down the road. Before you make those third-party enhancements and changes, what do you wish, take a step back and be like, okay, in a year from now, what I wish I would have done today, right? And honestly, for us, it wasn't that expensive compared to what we were already paying for the fact that our average order value and our conversion rate increased. Like it's already paid for itself, right? So
yeah, quickly. It becomes much easier to justify
yes.
when you can show and reference numbers like Red Aspen's for sure. I know you can only speak to your personal experience with Shopify there at Red Aspen, and you've had such a positive experience with Shopify. Would you have the same advice or recommendation to go with Shopify if maybe you operated in 20 different markets around the world? If maybe you were at a different point in your life cycle, do you feel like it's a good solution for all, or that there's still a little bit of the Cinderella where the shoe really needs to fit right?
Okay, from my limited knowledge in this, I think that it also depends on your commission engine, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to depend on how Shopify can handle it. Shopify can go to different countries, different currencies, different languages, right? That's what they can do. But then how are you going to convert that and connect that over to your commission engine is going to be the other big thing, right? I think that you just got to make your timeline a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have to find a great partner, right? I don't think you're not going to do this successfully unless you find a company like we used to help play the intermediary, because you can have an amazing development staff, but from looking, there's no Shopify developer out there, right? To if they do, it's a very new, not a lot of people have that experience, right? For what we need. And so I think you've got to still have that consultant to help play the intermediary to tell you that and be honest with you about is your company able to do this? I will tell you, I'm sure there's some very, very large companies that are making this transition right now. Mm-hmm. So I don't have a doubt that it can happen, because here soon, I don't know when this is going to air, but here soon we're going to see, right? We're going to see that whether you're brand new or you have been around in this industry and you're massive, you can make the conversion over.
Yeah, it is going to be amazing to watch how many start jumping on to Shopify here shortly. Mm-hmm. I want to end with maybe a two-part question. As you look out, direct selling today and out over the next few years, what are you seeing? What do we need to be doing more or less of but then also what excites you the most about the future in direct selling in today's e-commerce, socially driven world?
What I'm excited about is to see how this next generation really thinks about direct sales. I think as I was growing up, when I got my first job at a direct sales company, my dad and mom were like, "You're working where?" Like they were like, "That the company's not going to last. What do you're crazy." I'm not going to lie. Even when I started Red Aspen, my parents were still like, "Really? Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yes, trust me." Right. But I think now, because we've changed so much in the industry about the pushy parties and these crazy massive opportunity events where people feel forced into things, right? And that we're modernizing how we are paying them, how we're talking about this. We're changing our language on how we talk about the opportunity. That I'm excited to watch the younger generation see how they continue to feel about us, right? And how then can we take that and tailor and market to them? Maybe they're the catalyst to help us continue to build and show the world how amazing direct sales can be, right? So I'm really excited to do that. And I'm excited to be in the forefront of setting that example of what a direct sales company can be, right? To them, to be able to approach and talk to them about this opportunity, whether it's just to sell or to make money or to grow a team, whatever it is, but to build beautiful products that they want to get behind with a mission that they believe in. Like, I'm excited to be on the forefront of that and to see how they respond to that.
I want to thank you and the other co-founders for bringing that fresh perspective to direct selling. Again, from the first DSU that I heard someone from Red Aspen speak, I was so encouraged and excited about the future of the channel and what you bring. And thank you for really being out at the forefront of this e-commerce evolution that's happening in direct selling right now. It's obvious that you were in the trenches, that you didn't just sit back and manage this from your corner office, but that you were really down in the weeds with your sleeves rolled up and making this happen. And it's so exciting and encouraging to hear the impact that it had on the business. I think that's going to really inspire a lot of companies to move even more quickly to make this transition. But please give our best to everybody back there.
Yes.
Is it at the Treehouse?
The Treehouse.
The Treehouse.
Yeah, that's our corporate office. Mm-hmm.
Back at HQ. I love the culture there that you all have built. So thank you for all you do. Look forward to seeing you at DSU and look forward to learning more.
Thank you. And Wayne, I just have to say too, if somebody is still paying attention to us ranting at each other, at this podcast towards the end, I would love to be connected with anybody who wants just more information, lessons learned, because I am so all in on helping every other direct sales company learn and be better and do it better than us. So just kind of wanted to throw that out there as well.
That's super kind, super generous of you. And I know that people are going to take you up on that. So you may wish you didn't extend that invitation, but
as long as they give me something else, we'll just swap ideas, right? That's it.
Yeah. Well, luckily that's what direct selling is all about at the corporate level. So
yes, agreed.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Wayne. Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in. Please take a moment to subscribe and give a 5-star rating and review to help Direct Approach continue to provide more candid insights and interviews for direct selling corporate executives. We also invite you to join us for the Fall DSU happening October 6th to 8th in Plano, Texas. Visit dsnevents.com today for details. Thank you for listening and supporting DSN and the Direct Approach podcast.